All right, so you filleted your round fish or trout or salmon or whatever you've got. Now what are you gonna do with it? Some of it I'm gonna sear off and eat with dinner. Some of it I'm gonna show you how to make a salt cured salmon, and then some of it I'm gonna turn into like little trout cakes. So for salt cured salmon, I've got 50% sugar and 50% salt. I'm using a really nice sea salt. It's actually quite moist still from the sea. And I will add a little bit of garlic. I will add a little bit of chives. And I'll add some parsley to this. I'll also add my own homemade vanilla. I just make it out of a whiskey, and I put all my vanilla bean pods in there. So I'll put a little bit of this in there, just to help scent it. Things like red fish go surprisingly well with whiskey and brandy and vanilla. They go surprisingly well. So I'm just gonna mix this whole thing together. Oh, it smells so boozy and salty. It's gonna be so nice. Okay. So I'm going to start putting some down here. And I'll put my fish right on top. I've trimmed down my fish side quite a bit because I want it to fit in this container here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep this in the container I'm gonna keep this in the container in my fridge, and then every day I'm gonna flip it upside down. Between 3 and 5 days, this entire thing should be cured, and I can slice it and put it on beautiful crackers or whatever I wanna do with it. It's gonna be absolutely gorgeous. So I'm just gonna make sure that salt and sugar mix is all over the entire fish. Normally I would do this with the skin on, but I skinned this to show you guys how to skin it. It will still work. I'll just, it'll still work. It'll be fine. Okay. So it's well crusted in the sugar salt mix, and now I'm gonna wrap it up really tight. So I've double layered my wrap. I want it to be wrapped really, really well. So I wanted to make sure I had no holes. I do have a seam down the middle, so I'll likely wrap it along the middle as well. Fold this over nice and tight. Fold this side over nice and tight. And let me just do one more wrap to make sure it's sealed. So I'm gonna put this in this dish, and every single day I'm gonna flip it, and I'll flip it again, and then I'll flip it, and then I'll flip it. And what's happening is the cure is gonna go from the top down and the bottom up. So it's gonna be sitting in a little bit of its own juices, as well as the salt from the top. So every time we flip it, we're changing where the juice is, and we're changing the setup. And the goal is that I will have a nice evenly cured piece of salmon at the end of this, or trout, sorry, it's steelhead. So this is my steelhead salt cured, and it'll be really, really amazing. It'll be kind of like a gravlax or a cold smoked salmon. You know, often you get with bagels. That's how the texture of this at the end, what it's gonna be like. So this I'll put aside for now. And I thought, why don't we make cakes, little fish cakes out of it? There are a couple ways you could do this. One thing is you can put it in a chopper and chop it up like a Cuisinart or a RoboCoupe or whatever. These are actually not bad, so I'm just gonna try to cut them small by my knife. Some other ingredients are, I've got small diced onions and small diced red peppers. I've got garlic, I've got chives, I've got herbs, I've got an egg. I'm not someone who has breadcrumbs on hand at all times. I do at work. I always have a panko, or we'll have our own dried breadcrumbs of the leftover bread going at all times. But at home, I just break up crackers. So this is a pack of crackers I beat up. So I'll have some inside and I'll have some on the outside of my fish cakes. So first, let's cut up all this salmon trim. Or sorry, trout trim. Let's cut up all this fish trim. Let's see here. And I'll just mow through it a little bit. I don't want exact cubes, but I do want it kind of that size. so I have my salmon chopped up. I'm gonna throw in my garlic, my onions. I'm gonna throw in my peppers. I got some stuff on the outside of my egg. I'm gonna throw in the herbs I had cut for it, which are chives and parsley. I'm gonna put about a third of a cup, maybe 2/3 of a cup of breadcrumbs in there. I'm also gonna add an egg. I'm definitely gonna add salt and pepper. I'm gonna add a little bit of sambal. Just a little bit of spice, not too much. I'm gonna hand mix this. Normally I'd wear gloves, and I should wear gloves because this is gonna stink, but that's okay. The reason is I wanna break up this egg before I start mixing. I'm gonna wanna make sure it's evenly mixed. Now that I see this mixed, it's still a little wetter than I would like, so I'm gonna add some more breadcrumb to this. There we go. As soon as it's something you can form texturally, you're pretty good. I have to tell you, this smells unbelievable. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna form them into little fish cakes. There's a couple of ways I can do it. I'll show you 2 ways. One way to form fish cakes would be use a ring mold and put a little bit of fish inside. The bonuses of this are you're gonna get a consistent size every single time and a consistent shape, which if you're doing this for a restaurant or if you're doing this to impress some people, it's quite nice to be like, oh, look at me, I'm amazing. So there's that, really nice consistent size. And then I would put it in breadcrumbs all around the outside to help with frying, pan frying, sorry. So there's one fish cake. And another way would be to just do it by hand. So I would get maybe a scoop and put maybe 2 scoops together and just form it into disc shape with my hands. I'm gonna use the ring mold to finish these off, but I just wanna show you that if you don't have a ring mold, you're not stuck. You can still do this. And again, you can't even tell. But I'm gonna use the ring mold because I hate stinking like my food, and I'm just gonna put it on here. Just gonna check the other side here. It's looking pretty good. So I've got good color on both sides. What I'm gonna do now is I will finish it up in the oven and then I'll plate it out. So here are my salmon cakes. I've got them with a chipotle apple cider ranch, a little bit of chive, and these are lovely. I hope you guys give them a try as well. This is seared steelhead on top of roasted asparagus. I hope you enjoyed this video.